So up front, let's cover the success formula that really is the basis upon which your business will actually grow and move forward. It's simply this. First of all, you and your team make a whole series of decisions every single day. In fact, you make over 1,000 decisions every single day. The question is, are they the best decisions to help you actually move forward? The other problem is, though, is sometimes you make a great decision, but we forget the second part of the formula, and that is to follow through with these wonderful things called actions. So decisions multiplied by actions equals results. So if you make a poor decision, take poor actions, you'll get a poor result. If you take or make great decisions, take great actions, and then you will actually get a great result. Now, if we talk about this and say you've got a team of 5 people or 10 people or 20 people, if each of you are making 1,000 decisions today, that's 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 decisions that we're talking about are happening in your business. Are they the most effective decisions? That's the big question. The second point here is how well and how great are you and your team at following through on those actions? And those together will actually produce a great result. So really what we're about today is focusing in and honing in on how to actually go about making that happen. Let's have a look at this first ingredient, which is focus, the first of the X factors we're going to focus on today. Now, right up front, it's important to recognize that your business will never outperform you. In other words, your business is a reflection of you. So everything that's working, great, is you. Everything that isn't working is also you. Now, that might be a bitter pill to swallow, but you think about it. If you take that level of responsibility, if you take that on board fully and completely, then suddenly your business has the potential of moving forward. It's very easy to blame something on someone else or say that was not my fault. But when we actually take the responsibility and say your business is a reflection of you, suddenly we can move forward at an accelerated pace. Now, in relation to this, in your 10X workbook, you'll see a growth model there. And the growth model looks simply like this. And we're asking, which mode are you in? Now, if we look at performance over time, I can pretty much guarantee where you'd like to head is in that direction. In other words, as time goes by, a year, another year, another year, we want to see the business performance improve. The natural state of a business is to grow, so let's look at how we go about making that happen. Interestingly enough, though, a business never grows in a straight line. So if we take a little snapshot of this and start to have a look at what happens, let's really understand what is the growth process and how we need to focus effectively to be able to produce that result. Let's have a look at this on the flip chart. So as we've said, a business never goes in a straight line. In fact, if we look at it, a business more so looks like this, where each of these particular points in time, we could class them as little opportunities to reinvent the business. Now, they could be classed as a choice point or maybe even a crisis point that the business actually goes through. And what is very important is we have the ability to bump through these and start to reinvent the business. Interestingly enough, if we don't actually reinvent the business, quite often a business will head south. In other words, it won't achieve the potential. This sometimes happens to an entrepreneur who sets a business up, starts to grow, then some problems or issues come up, and rather than actually bumping through those, starts to retract and reduce the size of their business. A smaller business will be less problems. Well, only if we don't have the right structure and systems in place, that's actually true. Or the other way of going is the business actually just keeps pace with change. So change is occurring out there in the marketplace, and we're just keeping up. We're just keeping up. The other thing and final point is, how do we actually really thrive in the business? How do we take it to an advantage that sees us actually growing, succeeding, and excelling in a major way? Now, if we add to this, if a business actually heads towards extinction, it typically heads towards extinction because the rate of change internally within the business is not keeping up with what's happening in the marketplace. That could be expectations of the client. That could be what competitors are offering. It could be anything along those lines that's causing them to get in the way of capitalising on that. Here, a business that's actually surviving, well, quite often what happens with a business that's surviving, they're just, change occurs, a competitor does this, they catch up. So we're always playing this catch-up mode. But a business that's actually thriving in the marketplace is ahead of change. Now, I'm not talking about being on the bleeding edge, but I am talking about being on the leading edge. This is a business that has the X factor. This is a business that's starting to really accelerate in such a way that they're ahead of the game. Therefore, other people are playing catch-up, and other people are heading towards extinction because they're not reinventing. And all it is a matter of bumping through these choice points. Very important that you look at the structure and the support you have in order to make that happen. Now, also in your workbooks, you'll see just below this particular model, there's a line there. Let's actually take a look at this. on that line, this is the present, this is the past, and this is the future. And you may want to actually update your notes as we go through this. If you look at most businesses, and remember the success formula we looked at before, decisions, actions, and results, what we're saying here is that most of the time, if you look at what the decisions you make today, they're very similar to what was made last week or last month. Similar actions to last week and last month. In other words, we fall into SSDD, stands for same stuff, different day. What we're saying here then, what we do in the present will give us the past results or worse. Why? Because the market's moving forward, the market's changing. In other words, what we're doing is we're in this past-present loop. We're just repeating the past, repeating the past, repeating the past. The question that comes up is there a better way? And certainly from a coaching point of view and at 10X, we say absolutely yes. And the better way is rather than being driven from the past, almost like we're carrying the past with us into the future, we move from a past focus to a future focus. And the future focus means what is it we want to achieve out here, and then how do we, and what do we need to do today in order to make that happen? And then that suddenly fuels this future that we're wanting to achieve and create. Let me put this into perspective for you. And there's a couple of assumptions we make here. The first assumption that we're making is that you have clarity on your future. You're clear in terms of where you want to head. That could be a big assumption because one of the things that we do at 10X is help you get clarity on your future. The second thing that comes into play then is who do you need to be and what do you need to do today in order to actually accelerate and make that happen? So quite simply, are you putting into the day? Are you making the decisions and taking the actions to produce the result that you want, not from a past point of view, but from a future point of view? Now, it's important to recognise we're talking about some habits here now. So for you to actually change and produce a better result, it will fundamentally mean, in terms of focus, what do you need to shift in terms of focus? What do you need to put into your day? What does your team need to put into your day, into their days, to make sure that we actually get the best results possible? That's simply the focus that we need to have. Two questions, and those two questions you may want to make a note of. The first one is, who do I need to be now in order for this future to turn up? Who do we need to be for our clients? Who do we need to be for our team? Who do we need to be for the marketplace in order for this future to turn up? Are we an X-Factor business, and are we operating like that right now? Or are we operating from a past focus to say we're just doing enough to get by? Second question, if that's who we need to be, second question is then, what do we need to do? As an X-Factor business, what do we need to do to massively ensure that we achieve this future? Very, very simple focus, very, very simple conversation, but incredibly powerful when it's put in place within your business. So with your 10X coach and your other colleagues in this particular boardroom briefing of The Edge, go ahead now and have a discussion around what have you gained so far? Where is your focus? And is there an opportunity for you to actually reinvent and develop and enhance your business? Enjoy the conversation and see you back very soon.